In a recent unbagging video, and then subsequent videos afterwards, because it's so handy, I got this little camera-based magnifier with an LCD screen. So let me turn it on. It makes musical stuff, which is apparently stolen from a game system, and it's now showing magnification of whatever it's pointed at. Now, I've got images stored in this already, like this one, and if I zoom down in this, this is actually a UVC LED. That's how close it gets. That you've got the main chip in there, and then you've got the little protection chip across it. But let's take a look down on the bench. So to give you an idea of the magnification, here is the squiggle. Let's home in on the squiggle, and we can trace the squiggle round and then randomly find a resistor here, a little tiny surface mount resistor. It's that little one there. And note this little blue dot here, this greeny blue dot. Where's that? Oh, there it is there. But anyway, let's go back to the resistor. And it's showing 1, 0, 0, and 0 is a decimal multiplier. If you want, you can take a picture of that. Like that. It's taken a picture and stored it onto an SD card that you can either get with the unit or supply yourself. Note that you also have options of lighting. You can press this button here and you get warm white lighting. Press it again, you get ultraviolet lighting. Press it again and it's back to the white lighting. And likewise, if I press this button here, which is the power button, if you press it briefly, it lowers the intensity down, but it does kind of self-compensate for that. Interesting. I didn't realise until now that it ramps the intensity up and down. Anyway, now there is a weakness here. Its perfect focal position is flat like that. If I bring in, say for instance, this bit of paper, which was thank you for your order, that was for a UVC tube, and I place it on, well, you can see it's great for magnifying text, but you can't really read much at once. But that's its optimal focal position when it's sitting on something. And if you've got, say, something like a circuit board here, and you try and fit it over that circuit board, if there's anything sticking up at all, it's going to limit how close you can get to the bits you want to actually read. And that's not so bad with low-profile items like this, because you can get down quite close. For instance, this little regulator says 7150, but it would be nice to be able to hover above things. And so I wonder if this focus can be changed by rotating this lens. However, it is glued, so we're probably going to have to open it up. Well, that was going to happen anyway, wasn't it? So I shall turn this off along with more music. I'll hold it up to the phone so you can actually hear it. I'm not sure where the speaker is. I'll just hold it up like this. And I'll zoom out, regain the focus like that, and there are no screws that are obvious. I'll take the little SD card out. It comes with or without an SD card. You might be better just want to put your own low capacity one in. I don't know if this records video. I don't think so. I don't know. I've not tested that. It has games built in, which is odd. There's a USB-C charging port that's also used to connect to the computer for either it'll appear, you can choose when you plug it in and turn it on. You can choose if it's going to be a memory device, like an SD card that you can then read the card and your files in, or it can appear as a camera so you can actually look at stuff on your computer screen. Very handy, or technically speaking video, I suppose, at that point. But anyway, I don't see screws, unless they've hidden any under the plastic here. That would be nasty if they have. I don't really want to break this. So, he said, making crunchy noises. So let's carefully prise it apart and see if we can get into this. I'll break mine so you don't have to break yours. Yeah, this feels very tight. It's tight. Tight like a tight thing. This is something... Oh, I've just turned it on. I'll just turn it back off again. It's so easy to push the buttons in this. How is this put together? There is a possibility that they've... stuck that in afterwards and there's screws underneath. I hope not. That would be really annoying. But I don't know. Let's keep probing away. I'll probably turn it on and off accidentally as I do this. This is also a very tight case. I do feel it parting. I don't want to damage the circuit board either. This is clipped together so tightly. Is there anything I'm missing here? It could just be super tight fixings, or there could be hidden screws. Now this thing has been stuck in. That's suspicious, isn't it? This faceplate has been stuck in afterwards. There's a realignment thing. Is there a possibility that is actually hiding screws? This though is going to make huge cracky poppy noises now. Is that hard plastic that has been glued in? Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm going to pause, and once I've actually got it apart, I'll tell you how it came apart. Progress, there are hidden screws. You have to take out the little bit that says microscope to reveal that screw down there. Let's pop that out right now. And you have to take the lens off the front. Well, the lens, the diffusion over the lights, I don't know if that's going to affect its operation that much. Oh, the diffusion will be important to actually splash some light probably. But anyway, you have to take that off as well, which is not easy because it's actually stuck on. Oh, it's stuck onto the table now. I had to heat it up, maybe some isopropyl alcohol help, but I had to basically spudger it up at the edge here, just between the lens assembly and that, and then get a screwdriver in and just use brute force to get it off. Not that easy. Worth knowing. Now, how many screws have I taken out so far? That one's out, so just that one to go. And then, theoretically, I won't have to use so much force this time to get this out. That's assuming this particular screw actually wants to play ball. This one screw, has just decided not to play ball. Is it rotating? One moment, I'm just going to grab another screwdriver. Apparently that screw was just spinning. Right, so now we can pop this apart. Are there any more hidden screws that I should know about? I don't think so. Let's spudger it again. Where is the spudger? There's the spudger. So it's kind of opening okay-ish at this point in time. There's no finesse here. This is why I would not get employed in a phone repair shop. These buttons, they're going to drop out, aren't they, and get swapped about. But that's all right. You'll just remember them. Their location intuitively. What about this? Oh, this is promising. This is promising. It feels like there's something actually in here, but I don't see anywhere there is a screw. Maybe it is just clipped really tightly. Yeah, it's clipped really tightly. What was that for? Oh, that was the sounder. That is apparently... Oh no, what is that? Oh, that is the sounder. Apparently, it's not a sounder anymore. Lovely. I'll just unplug that since I've ripped it right off. Here's the little camera. I'll tell you what. I'll zoom into this. I don't know if there's any point taking a picture. I'll just zoom into it as we have it, and we can take a look at that. Well, I did end up taking a picture, so let's explore. Here's a USB port coming on. Initially, I thought that was a charge control chip, but I don't think it is. I think it's something to do with USB-C. Not sure. But this LTH7 is the charge control chip for the lithium cell, which plugs in here. This transistor here may actually turn the power on to this unit. It might be one of those clever things, not sure, that when you press the power button, it wakes it up by actually powering this transistor, and then the chip can hold it on. That's a trick they sometimes use, but that's a guess. Not sure what this is because the chip numbers are kind of proprietary-ish numbers. But this chip here, next to the microcontroller with the numbers scrubbed off, this chip here with a 32.768 megahertz, is that kilohertz, 30.768? Not sure what that's going to be, if it's megahertz or kilohertz. 32.768 is usually a timing reference, but the chip is upside down. It's a T25532. I think that's a memory chip, and that this may possibly be an ESP, but I'm not really sure. They're the three transistors that are most likely controlling the cold white, warm white, and ultraviolet. But then there's another transistor here with a level shifter, and that might actually be to the pulse width modulate all the LEDs to control the intensity instead of controlling them off those transistors there. Oh, there is a little indent there with a reset button. So there's a reset button that I didn't know about, hidden under a little indent next to the charge port. It says RST reset. Oh, well, that's good to know. It also has the charge status LEDs either side of it. The camera is plugged in here. The LCD has a little ribbon cable going onto the back of the circuit board. It's all marked here, which is quite good. But the type of ribbon cable connector here is the type you flip the lever up the back. Well, let me demonstrate. By zooming down onto this, and then I'll flip the lever up the back. This little lever here flips up the way to release the ribbon cable, which might actually be a good idea because this ribbon cable goes onto the bottom. This plastic housing here, hold on, I'll zoom in this and get it focused better. So this ribbon cable goes onto the back of this housing. There's a little foam ring to help block light from the side here to prevent the LEDs spilling up into the camera. And normally you can rotate these little lenses. It is threaded, but when I'm twisting it, I think they've glued that, which is a common enough thing to do. Let's get along those pliers. That's the reason I've just undone the ribbon cable, but I'm cautious about twisting this because this is glued onto the circuit board and it might damage the camera. That would be a shame if I did that. I did originally toy. Ooh. That is not rotating. That's glued. Now, the camera's twisting here. Oh, this is just not nice. Have I damaged the camera yet? There's a little sticky pad in the back. The camera is there's a metal plate and then it's sort of like heat staked on. What if I grip this in beefy electrician's pliers? This is where it all goes wrong, isn't it? It's okay. If I break mine, I break mine. It means you don't have to break yours. I did originally think maybe I could have 3D printed a little cup, a little sort of indented tube that went over the end of this and adjust it from outside, but that is not the case. So I'm gripping the plastic body now and I'm gripping this. Is it rotating? Well, yeah, it did rotate. Right. Okay. I think that was already out quite far. Let's get the glue off it. It's missing its little infrared filter. Look at it. That's good. It means you could look at infrared type things with it. That's something that might have been useful, having infrared as an option instead of ultraviolet. There is the camera sensor in there. Can you see it just reflecting light like that? Okay, so I'm going to, now this is loose, I'm going to put it in here and screw it in out. And I'm going to stick it back onto the circuit board. Let's get the ribbon cable back in and see if it still even works. Have I destroyed it yet? It's so delicate. But I thought if I'd made that little thing that plugged onto the outside from the outside of the camera, a little 3D printed object, it would have been nice to release the file that you could just basically make a key and then adjust the focus as you wished, but I don't think that's going to happen. This ribbon cable is quite annoying. It's big fingers, it's big bare fingers, as usual. Trying to get that in. There it goes. Sit it in, hinge the little flap down, stick it back down onto its designated sticky square that they've printed on there. Turn it on and see if it works anymore. There's the speaker, by the way. No music. It's still working. Now, what happens if I screw the lens in the way? Does it increase the focal range? Not sure. Not sure that is, but let's keep screwing it in then and see what happens. And see if we can actually increase the focal distance. I think it is increasing the focus distance very slightly. That is having an effect, so let's screw it in even more. Let's screw it until we hit the chip and destroy everything. That is possible. Let's not do that. It might just be this is not optimized for super zoomy use. Right, so I think that has, by screwing it in, as opposed to out, which I was expecting it out. I think it has actually increased the range. Can I go any further? I mean, at what point am I going to risk hitting the chip? I don't think I'm going to hit the little chip at the back, but let's screw it in. The glue is still on that barrel, unfortunately, which is going to affect its ease of going in. Oh, that's much better. That is much better. Now when I, hold on, now I can get a circuit board, like, say for instance, is there a circuit board with sticky up components on it here? This. I can now, oh yeah, that is definitely increasing the range dramatically. And now it's loosened up. I may be able to do that, what I was talking about, little 3D printed thing, but now that's me focusing at that distance there, which is actually a lot better. Okay. Maybe too far. I wonder how the illumination's going to go there. But anyway, I shall put this back together now that we've loosened it up, and we can experiment with it and see if it actually provides good illumination from that distance. So I'll do that right now. One moment, please. Okay, so let's test this again, and this time you'll see that I can get the whole squiggle in. This does mean that you're going to have to use the digital zoom if you want to get closer to some components. There presumably is this perfect compromise position that, I've maybe screwed it in a bit too far, but, now that that's loosened up, theoretically I could make a little adapter or get a pair of tweezers in, ceramic tweezers. Because now that's loosened up, it might be possible to actually just rotate that for fine adjustments externally. Not sure. I won't tempt fate. But now you can get the circuit board underneath. Instead of being forced to go right down onto the circuit board, you can now hover at a modest distance. But the downside is, I do notice that the illumination isn't perfect now. It's actually causing reflections. The circuit board, and it's also not, well, there's no marking on that chip. But how is that for chips with markings? And are there any chips with markings on the near here? That is, what was I looking at before? Let me see if I can find whatever I was looking at. Not sure where I've put that, but we'll use this instead. This is a dimmer, a passive infrared detector, I think it was, a 2-wire one. But if I go like this, you'll see the lighting isn't quite right, but you can actually tilt it and get fairly decent, bright, readable digits there, which is good. That's fine. That is looking absolutely fine to me. That's perfect for reading most chips. And of course, you've always got that digital zoom afterwards if you want to get bigger results. But there it is. The answer is that yes, you can modify this. I've got rid of the speaker. That's great. It doesn't make musical noises anymore. But you can modify it, but it's not as simple as just putting an adapter in the front, which would be great, and just twisting the lens barrel in and out, or the lens in and out of its barrel. It is going to require that you open up and remove the camera and support it, and then kind of break the glue. This is a common thing in fixed focus stuff, which isn't ideal. It's fairly complex, and it does risk breaking the camera in the process, damaging the ribbon cable. A bit fiddly, not for the new to electronics. But if you've got the ability and the money to buy another one, then you could do that. And to me, that's kind of improved it for my applications. But I shall provide a link to this. It's very good. It will be an affiliate link. I do recommend that the affiliate links, they don't theoretically charge you more than the normal cost, but the prices fluctuate up and down. So as always, shop around. This one ended up, when I added it to the main basket, it ended up in a bundle deal at a very decent price. And I have to say, it's something that I've used a lot recently. It's a very, very handy little tool.